Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web. Yes, we're finally on the big one. Here we go, there's lots of flesh here and a few metallic bits. There's a skull I've just seen, bit of leather, cloth, whatever. So, what are we going to do first? Well, we're going to be starting off using the darkest colour of flesh, which I've decided is going to be Bestigo flesh. So I'll give it a good shake. And once it's been shaken, we do what we normally do, and that's slap it on. On. There are a few areas in here which could cause a problem if you're not careful, namely the ears, the eyes and the mouth. If you're not careful, you could swamp those out too much, or with too much paint rather. So you really need to be careful with that, especially if like me you haven't stripped the model beforehand. If you're doing a completely unpainted model that's just being primed, then you shouldn't have a problem, but so when you're priming, just make sure you put thin coats on, don't be too thick. So get all our flesh bits done first, which is well, 85–90% of the model actually. So try and keep some of the detail in. If you go over any of the finer detail, it doesn't matter. Like I've just gone over the rope part for his necklace there, but it doesn't matter. You can always go over that again later on with a fine brush, a steady hand and a darker colour. I've heard about an interesting way of doing flesh, and I want to give it a try on this man. So I'm hoping this is an experiment. I'm experimenting myself with these colours today, so if it doesn't quite go right, then it was worth a try. I can always strip the paint off again. I'll strip the paint off and start again rather. That isn't an issue. I don't want to do that, never mind. But I say be patient with me on this one, because as I say, it's a technique of doing skin I've never used before. It's using a different colour of wash to Agrax Earthshade, which as you know I usually use for going over most things, but this, as I say, is a different colour completely for what I would usually do skin with, and I'm just hoping, as I say, it goes well. As I say, I'm not saying this is going to be perfect straight off. You know, I may have used a skin colour that's a bit too strong, I don't know, but we'll see as time goes on with this one. As I say, I'm experimenting as much as you're, I don't want to say learning, but if you get me drift. So we'll get all the skin areas done. Oops, I think I may have slipped off camera again then. I'm just hoping I can do a good job on this one. I don't know if I may continue using this technique for this colour of flesh. It's not one I wanted to do for the orcs because I wanted them looking grimy and dirty, as I've said, I've mentioned a few times in doing the videos. I wanted them actually looking as though they really need a bath, you know. Not putting too fine a point on it. They could do with a week in the shower block, but yeah, this one, because there's a lot of flesh to it, I want to give it a try because it just just sounded interesting. It may make a much more natural skin tone rather than using browns like I've been doing, but we'll come to that later. Okay, we're going to change our brush now and paint. We're going to be going back to the Rhinox hide and the slightly smaller brush, and going to give his loincloth a base coating. There we go. In fact, I want to do all of this part. I may as well, and I can always I'll use a different brown over the top, or failing that, either using a different brown or a different what's the word I'm looking for? A different brown to highlight it. May use a different colour to mix in with this Rhinox hide to change the tone slightly. So either way, we'll get a different colour on various parts of this, or a different shade of colour as a highlight, so it doesn't make any difference to going over everything in this base colour. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. And it's nearly finished now. And he says, just as he sees something else is not done, which is, as you know, quite normal for me. If there is one thing normal about me, it's I'll tend to make a mess of something, or do something wrong, or forget something, miss something out. So that's his loincloth. Oh, hang on, I think I've just missed a bit at the bottom here. I have. This is loincloth done. Now his boots. or what I'm going to call these boots. I don't know whether they are boots or whether they're just ankle wraps. I can't quite tell. But oops. What I can tell is the flesh on his shoulders is almost dry. So it won't be too long now before we can put the first wash on this, and again I move the model at one particular angle and see places that I've missed painting. Lights are okay, but you angle what you're doing to try and paint it, and you've got a great big round base at the bottom. Everything goes into shadow and you can't see what you're doing then. So it's just hope for the best that you've actually covered everything. Oh yeah. I think I'll do the wrist ones as well. So I can do them all. Different shades of browns, whatever. There's no, just because we're doing it all one colour doesn't mean to say that everything else is going to be the same colour, because it would look really boring if we did that. There we are. There we go. So it's the Games Club tomorrow night when I do my Castle Ravenloft play with the 3D terrain tiles. I'm hoping people like them now. So it's just a case of finding space to be able to stack them so I can see which ones they are. I think that won't be much of a problem there, to be honest. It's just going to take some setting up. So I'll have to try and get there a bit earlier. If you've seen my video in response to Rodney Smith's Table Talk episode where he was asking how we store games, you'll have seen exactly how my Dungeons and Dragons stuff is stored. So you see what I'm going to have to take with me tomorrow. Luckily, some of the cases will actually fit in the others, so it's not as if I'm going to be carrying about 3 or 4 great big cases. I'll be carrying like 1 or 2. Well, at least I'll be carrying at least 2. I've seen another place where I've missed, and I don't think I can get at it with the brush. Yeah, they're just okay. The next one I'm going to do is the shaft of his axe. I'm going to do in when I can find it. I did have it handy, and I took it out and then put it straight back again for some stupid reason. I'm looking for the Dryad bark. There we are. I'm going to put it somewhere. You know, anything I think is going to be wood. Get a covering with this. So there we are. It's slightly different. It's more of a grey brown rather than a rich reddish brown like the Rhinox hide. There is a distinct difference. It may not look so on camera, but there is a very distinct difference between the two. Mind you saying that, I think yes, you can see on the word comparing the two colours, you can see there is a difference. So I quite like this dryad bark. And I'm thinking this is going to be a stone axe, so it's going to be done the similar colours to the base. However, the wrap and the ropes there I'm going to go over again once it's been painted. Like these things that crisscross on the shaft and this part here, I'm going to be going over again in the Screaming Skull and Agrax Earthshade in order to pick out the detail. Okay, so now comes the part where I say I've missed a bit and I really have to touch up. Yes, I just noticed that I missed just a touch on here, which needs to be covered, and I also need to get the skin tone out again and touch up a bit in a couple of other places. And once we've done that, I can then get my new wash out and see how that furs on the skin. But I want on the skin tone, I want on the skin on the edges of the cloth covered. Yeah, I think that's almost about right. So there's a couple of pieces, a couple of areas where I've not gone fair enough with this skin tone. Which one is it again? Bestial brown. Hang on, no, Bestigor flesh. Bestial brown was an older paint name. Okay. And that, I think, is it. I don't think I've missed anywhere else. Let's just have a quick look. I've gone over with the brown on his leg there. No, I haven't, it was shadow. Fool. Okay. So we'll give that a couple of seconds just to dry off a bit. And while I'm waiting for that, I will introduce you to my new wash, which for the basic one is Druici Violet, or Druici Violet, should I say, or Druici Violet. It is a purple colour, a very dark purple colour. Apparently this is absolutely brilliant for shadows in flesh. That is something that remains to be seen. As I say, if it doesn't work, then it just means I'm going to have to soak this model in Dettol for a few hours, get all the paint off and start all over again, and just use my standard way of doing it. So here goes. I know we're doing art. I know with art and actually doing portraits, there's a lot more colours in skin and flesh than you would actually think there would be. On Caucasian flesh you'd tend to find, what the heck's that under? You tend to find green mixed in with the skin colour. I mean, I'm not saying to any great extent, but there is a hint of green. Right, so that's that done. My memory card is getting full, so I'm going to have to go in a second. And in fact, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll carry on washing it and then come back after I've emptied the memory card. Okay, so until next time, take care, God bless, and bye for now.